Welcome Wednesday to all those listeners out there. Minutes after 6 bells. Bring the heat. Olympian Paul Tarek in studio. 2 weeks in a row. I'm your host, Rex Stevens. We're here every Wednesday night, 6 o'clock here on Living the Run. Bring the heat, Paul Tarek. It's been here. It's almost feeling like your days in the Midwest growing up there in Michigan.
Why do you jinx it? If you didn't say anything, it would stick around longer. Now that it knows that we know that it's here, it's as good as gone.
Oh, the heat shouldn't deter you, though. Little extra sweating, little almost humidity
I'm
in the
actually
air.
sweating because I ran today. This isn't just me living, though.
Hey,
it's
Paul,
close.
this is what I want to get after right off the bat here. You know, we talk health and fitness every week. We're going to bring it to you today. Local dentist. Let me tell you, Ryan Ross, he's been a sponsor of Living the Run for a while. He's going to be in studio with us, Paul, and we're going to be talking health of the mouth, but really in relation to health of the body. What people have not made the connection with is that inflammation in the mouth equals inflammation in other aspects of your body. Ryan's got some good stories. We're going to talk about some different things. And, you know, again, people love to put off the dentist. They love to put off their prevention behavior. But you were doing the same thing, Paul Tarek. I got to call you out on this, but I want to say, hey, good news. You told me you were starting to feel some stressors, some anxieties. Why? Because you weren't doing the things that you know relieve it. That is getting out and moving here on the Central Coast.
Yeah, I took some time off, and you know, it kind of snuck up on me, to be honest. You know, one day I just didn't feel right. The next day, a little less right. And then pretty soon, everything is stiff. Everything feels awkward. You almost feel surreal in your body. And you get out, you get a really hard workout, you get a really hard run, and you get out in the sunshine. You know, let the body move through its range of heart rates. Let all the chemical processes take place. And the next day I wake up, I was thinking I was going to be sore and I was going to be hurt. Mild stiffness, but I felt incredible. I finally felt kind of centered again, and then kicking myself because it was, you know, years of telling people you got to get out, you got to do this, and you know, I let it creep up on me. One day I couldn't get my run in. The next day, you know, I'm watching the kid. You know, I'm going to do something with the wife. We got some plans to go here in the evening, and you miss that me time, and you don't take it, and then pretty soon, you know, 2-3 weeks pass, and it catches up with you.
Yeah, no question. Check us out every week, guys. Facebook.com/LivingTheRun, LivingTheRun.com, and we're here live, ESPN 1280 The Ticket, 6 o'clock every Wednesday night. You know, we're doing just that, Paul. We're just being flat out honest, and we're telling people directly. The reality is that so many people say exactly what you said. They use the phrase, it just caught up to me. When we talk to Dr. Ryan Ross a little later, he's going to tell us the same stuff. It happens all the time. Gosh, all of a sudden I just have tooth pain. All of a sudden my gums just bleed regularly. All of a sudden, you know, the jaw just doesn't seem to close down correctly. And it's just one excuse after another. He's going to love this, but I saw a lady today. She literally told me this. I get into the room for an adjustment. She's doing some stretches, and she says to me, she goes, I'm exercising in your office just like I floss on the way to the dentist. It's so classic for people. Getting that one-time flossing in on the drive to the dentist just isn't going to get rid of the conditions. And again, we want to make sure people understand this. There is a direct correlation to inflammation in your body if it's in the mouth. And people need to get this. Start with some oral health as well as some other systemic things you can do. It'll benefit you on both ends.
Yeah, I think it's funny that a lot of people will look at the environment that we live in. Oh, don't put that in your mouth. It's gross. It's got germs. But they, at the same time, aren't brushing their teeth or, you know, using mouthwash, whatever it takes to keep their mouth clean, because the bacteria and the germs grow inside of there. And as soon as your immune system is, weakened, in a weakened state, you know, any bacteria or germ that could be growing inside your mouth is now going to take over.
Yeah, you know, this show just getting better and better, Paul. You know, we've been at it now you've been at it for a couple years. I've been at it for over a year and a half, and starting to line up some good guests. We had a great guest on Monday. You're not going to want to miss this interview next week. We're going to air it on Wednesday. Guy's going to be the first guy to walk from the coast of Antarctica to the South Pole and out, something that was attempted over 100 years ago by a British explorer named Captain Scott. But now explorer Ben Saunders is going to do that. He's one of only 4 people to have skied solo to the North Pole and back out. And when you start to think about that, things like Everest, things like some of these ultramarathons.
That's been done. It's been everybody can climb Everest, man. He did that. It's like a ride at an amusement park now, you know? Oh, did you guys go to Disneyland? No, I went to Everest. Oh, that sounds good.
One of 4 people in the world, and he's going to be the first guy ever, 100 years later, to attempt this deal. And he talked a lot psychology in relationship to physicality. Going to be a great guest. We got a doctor coming on the week following. Going to talk genes and kind of this new concept of epigenetics and how the environment, just like you said, affects our genome and so forth. We got Kona Ironman coming up. Bunch of competitors here. As well as a guy who runs a very successful podcast going to be coming on the show named Ben Greenfield. We're going to like him as well. A lot of good stuff coming on here for the fall for Living the Run. Maybe one of these days, Paul, I mean, is syndication in our future? Is this a word that we can throw out there or
I'm not a businessman, but I think if I had to give you advice, Rex, your best bet is to drop your co-host, all right, go the solo route, and you got a chance.
We maybe
Just
do
my
have a
best
chance.
bet.
We're hoping to get Virginia Merrim in here just a little bit as well from Vert Foods. She's got a little drink out there. Waz mistook this as he was leaving the studio from his show. He says, no drinking beer on the show. And I said, not to worry, no beer here, but a little ginger soda that Virginia herself concocted, and going to be good stuff as always from Virginia.
Is it in margarita form over there, Rex? I
kind of looks like it, definitely.
It almost looks like one of those mixes that you would kind of pop the top on. Not that I would know, but I've seen and heard about margarita mixes.
Olympian Paul Tarek, give us your workout today. What'd you do?
Today I was just telling the doc here that my workout seemed longer than it was. It was just
rarely a good sign.
In these days now, it's a daily sign. Just a simple run. I got about 25 minutes in. And I got 5 minutes of good, just easy jogging to warm up, and then I wanted to do segments, where I would pretty much randomly pick a distance, try to be about 50 to 100 meters, good form, pick it up, and really run that 50 to 100 meters, and then slow down to a nice jog pace. It didn't matter how slow it was, but just keep moving until I felt like I almost caught my breath, and then do the same thing again. And I kept that up. I got about 12 to 15 total reps in, and then back to the maybe 8 to 10 minutes, I think, or maybe 6 minutes after that, or whatever it was, and end of the radio show.
Hey, that's good stuff for you.
It wasn't an incredible workout. It wasn't a Monday track workout for you, but it keeps me busy, and it keeps me motivated to try to get a workout in every day. That's the thing is, like we talked the other day, and the idea is I have to get a workout in every day, even if it's 5 minutes of me just trying to sprint until I can't breathe. I got to get the heart rate up, chemical processes in, get the body cleaned out.
Yeah, we talked about that. And I'll say this. It seems to be the theme here lately. You talked about it a little bit. You got out of rhythm. You get back to some movement. You start feeling better. The theme I hear routinely now, and for so long it was about weight loss. It was about I got to exercise to lose weight. I got to exercise to get fit. I got this over and over and over again, repeatedly, I'm getting, when I exercise, I'm a nicer person. You're
too tired to be angry.
I'm too tired to be bringing that fatigue. But it is. People are getting more joy. They're finding that in their corporate job. They're finding in their family. They're finding in their relationships. Whatever it is, that they're just nicer. There's more joy in their life, and it's easier to be kind, or it's easier to slough off something that might normally irritate you. Now all of a sudden, you're just not as irritable when you're getting out there moving. I love hearing that. I love that how that theme has shifted a little bit.
Rex, you knew me when I was training, and I was, hair trigger on some days. We had a lot of pressure building up. There were sponsors waiting for for big things out of you, and you're going to these meets. There's a lot of pressure, so it's easy to snap and get into arguments about the littlest things. And it helped me, whether it's your significant other, your best friend, your kids, people you work with. There's times when you're just so agitated that it's like, I just want to yell at this person. I'm going to take 10 minutes, I'm going to get outside, and I'm going to go for a jog. And I'm going to make sure I get breathing hard. And when I come back, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And then by the time you get back 10 minutes later, you know what? I don't even remember what I was mad about. It must not have been that important if you can't remember after a 10-minute jog.
Hey, when we get back from runs, maybe we should think about participating in a drink like this. We got Virginia Merrim of Vert Foods coming on now. Virginia always comes. Find her stuff at vertfoods.com. If you haven't tried their food, you should. Virginia, is this drink that's sitting in front of us already mistaken in the parking lot for an alcoholic drink? Certainly isn't that. can we mistake it, or could we use it, rather, for an electrolyte-type drink?
Well, you could, and the greatest thing about this drink is this is actually a probiotic soda, and I introduced this in a class I taught last week, and it's so funny, the word soda just creates a lot of confusion. People go thinking about Dr. Pepper and, all these different sodas, and what I want to remind people is that 50, 75 years ago, the word soda was a process of fermenting usually ginger and water into a carbonated drink, a naturally carbonated drink. And then we added medicinal values to it. So what you guys have in front of you is actually sage, honey, lemon, and ginger that's been fermented. And it's been fermented for about 2 days. So it's filled with just literally millions of particles of probiotics. So not only does it have the medicinal effects of the ginger, as well as the rehydration that you're talking about for electrolytes, but it also has all these probiotics that everyone has just been super excited about again. Like, probiotics have come on the market as just this big cure-all. And the reality is drinks like this that people sipped on every night 50, 75 years ago were always in our system, and we always had good probiotics. So this is a very simple, wonderful drink for kids, for athletes, for moms, and it tastes really good. But I do have to comment that it's funny that you said it was mistaken for an alcoholic beverage, because that's actually the second process of the fermentation. If we allow that to sit in heat, sealed up for about another 20 days, you would in fact have mead. It would eventually turn into alcohol. So people have to remember that that's the process of fermentation. You go to the soda, you go to the ale, and then eventually you go to the beer or the mead. So, but at this moment, it's soda, and it's filled with very yummy probiotics. And again, very simple to make. It's just a ginger water base that you feed with some type of sweetener, and you seal it up, and you let nature do its thing. It activates all those beautiful microbials on the outside of the ginger and literally turns them into probiotics. It's a culture. So it's kind of how you make yogurt, too, from milk.
Well, Virginia, that was actually my question. You kind of covered it there. Is the fermentation process? What should your average person's going to do this? What should they be looking for, and how should they do it to make sure they don't make themselves some moonshine and blind themselves?
Exactly. Well, so these are the common questions. There's a couple of ones in fermentation. One is, how do I know that it hasn't turned to alcohol? For a lot of people, that's they're very concerned about it, especially if they're going to give it to their kids. And what I want to assure people is that, especially in slow and contained environments, you would never probably get it past 4 to 5% alcohol. And if you did, the head, just like on a beer, would be so thick and so bubbly that you would have known that it had gone past the fermentation. The other way to do it is to go over to Smart and Final and buy alcohol strips, and you literally stick it in there, and it'll actually tell you what the alcohol ratio of your fermentation is if you want to go to that level. The easiest way to do it is after your second day of fermentation, put it in the fridge. And when it gets cold, the fermentation process stops, and you know that you've literally put it to rest, and it's not going to go any farther. So that's usually the quickest way. The second biggest question I have, whether or not someone's making a sauerkraut, they're pickling cucumbers for the first time, or they're making sodas, is they tell me, well, how do I know that it didn't go bad? How do I not know that the bad bacteria did take over? And I want to remind people that we have this beautiful thing called instincts. So if you open your bottle of soda and it smells like a dead body, or it smells like rotten eggs, yeah, don't drink it. You will know when it's gone bad. It will be very obvious.
Asking people to use their instincts?
Virginia, have you paid attention to the news? And are you really going to trust people's instincts here and their common sense? I don't think that's probably a good idea.
If you've ever smelled rancid sauerkraut, you will know that you will not try to eat it. I promise you, you will not try to eat it if you've ever smelled it go bad.
We're going to put an asterisk next to that on our show that says we don't endorse you use your own instincts and common sense.
Well,
probably
the best part about it
strips.
is we went to Goleta for the fermentation festival, and they had signs up everywhere that said, this is for educational purposes, not for consumption, which was just hysterical to me. They had to make that sort of safety protocol, even though everyone's there eating the sourdough breads and drinking the mead and having the cultures and the kefir. They still had to put signs up everywhere that said it was for education only. So,
Paul, I think we ought to thank Virginia for helping us do our last show here on ESPN.
What? I'm just saying. I can assure you the people I'm referring to do not listen to our show.
I got it. As always, Virginia, thanks so much. Put that recipe up for us, will you? And people can take their own shot at making a little ginger, sage, and what was it? Honey, right? Ginger, sage, and honey.
Ginger, sage, and honey. You can make root beer and a bunch of different fun sodas from it.
Phenomenal drink. Thanks so much.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you next week. Hey, that was good stuff. And, as always, replacement drinks like this, as opposed to the alcoholic drink that so many people go to each and every night, wine, beer, whatever it might be, massive changes for our gut in the positive. So many people's guts are so screwed up. Bacterial populations are so screwed up because of the sugars that they're getting from alcohol, sodas, etc. You go here, you're actually going to create a reverse effect, reduce inflammation. Good stuff. We got to get to Dr. Ryan Ross here in studio next. We're going to talk dentistry, but we're going to talk some, who knows, maybe we'll talk little horror stories in the dentist chair. Maybe we'll talk, there's so many ways you can go with this conversation.
Without violating HIPAA laws, of course.
Without violating HIPAA laws. We will not do that on the show. We're already in trouble asking people to respond to their own instincts. So anyway, if your instinct is to stick with us here on this show on ESPN 1280 The Ticket, please do it. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Folks, when it comes to the health of my teeth, I will not compromise, and neither should you. It's time you go where my wife and I go. Go see Dr. Ryan Ross. I get it. Not everyone loves a dentist, and heck, even a few of you out there are scared to death of these offices. Bad past experiences? Well, you ever had a bad haircut? How about a bad meal somewhere? You didn't stop getting your hair cut, and you certainly didn't stop eating, so stop ignoring your teeth. Dr. Ross's gentle approach, calming demeanor, and office full of upbeat staff put your dental fears to rest. Conveniently located in a great little house on Marsh Street downtown, Dr. Ross's office exudes the highest level of professionalism, mixed with an atmosphere much like your own home. Look, nobody's in a rush here. It's not a get 'em in, get 'em out atmosphere. Every time I'm in Dr. Ross's office, it's like I'm the only guy that matters. No distractions, just full focus on my oral health. If you're interested in the highest quality in dental care and want to walk out of the office every time with a smile, call Dr. Ryan Ross today, 541-5800.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Slow Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
We're back with Living the Run.
The breaks are always entertaining on this show with Olympian Paul Tarek. Olympian Paul Tarek, Rex Stevens in studio. Let me tell you, this segment brought to you by one of our great sponsors, Team Swayze. Look at teamswayze.com. You can reach Hal Swayze at 805-781-3750 for all the real estate needs. You know, Paul, one thing I always notice is that in the real estate world, you know, depending on who you talk to, good market, bad market, it doesn't really matter what the truth is. Somebody will always tell you it's a good market when it's a bad market. It's
always good for a realtor because somebody's buying and somebody's selling.
Well, here's the good thing for if you're a consumer. You go and you talk to a guy like Hal Swayze. Nobody's done more deals than him. He does it whether it's good times or bad. He knows the market. He's educated on the market. And when you do that many deals, you really know what's going on. Nobody's got more experience in the business than him, over 20 years. And again, top realtor and slow. So whether you have a real estate agent, you want a second opinion, or you just want to go straight to Hal because he is proven to be the best, year in and year out. Check them out at teamswayze.com or call these guys again at 805-781-3750.
That is if you can catch him.
He is a fit guy. Speaking of fit, in studio now, and you can find these guys as well. Dr. Ryan Ross. It's at ryanrossdds.com. Look these guys up. Let me tell you, fitness has become one of your gigs. I've talked to you about it. Riding a bike. That's your deal.
That is my deal. I've never been a runner, so have to do something. Been on the bike.
Been on the bike. I remember coming in one day. I was excited about my son getting on his bike at just over 3 years old. I said, God, my son's riding a bike. It's a lot of fun. You one-upped me right off the bat.
Sorry about that.
My son was riding it too.
Scooting around on the diapers.
Scooting around on the diapers, getting on the bike. But, what have you seen, Dr. Ross, when it comes down to it? We've talked about it a little bit today already. We talk about it often in this show, talking health and fitness. What have you seen in your own life, your own experience, both as a dentist, a dad, a husband? What's it like when you get out of the gist of exercise, and what's it like when you get back in it?
Well, like Paul here, I definitely know what it's like to fall out. And I also agree with what you were saying earlier in the show, and that is that when you get back into it, it's amazing how better you feel and how better your attitude is. Stressful business, sometimes dentistry. We're going to talk about that, I would assume. And I just know, like you said, things roll off me a lot easier when I've gotten on the bike before work, and makes a big difference, without a doubt.
Nobody wants an angry dentist coming to work. Patient numero uno.
Well, we talked about this. Next week, you got to join us. We got an interview with UK's Ben Saunders. You can find this guy on TED.com. Over 1 million hits on his video. He's got a video called Why Leave the House. They talk about Antarctica, where he's going to take off. Coldest, driest, windiest, most hostile environment in the world. Let's put that to dentistry for a second, right? Used to be most suicides, everybody's scared, fearful, pain, one thing after another. Man, how did you choose this profession?
That's a great question. Really, for me, it was a matter. I'm from San Luis Obispo, and for me, it was what can I do to have a great career and stay here? And those were the things I was willing to put up with just to be in this area. Well, so that's it right there. That's the best and main answer.
Well, that and the most suicides really created some openings in the industry for him.
That's gotten a lot. Well, it's gotten much better, by the way. I think we're number 4 now.
Hey, not bad.
Passed by accountants not long ago.
Oh, interesting. I never thought about that. Less competition. Eventually, your competition is going to fall off.
Yeah,
because they just kind of whack themselves. Clearly wasn't going through Dr. Ryan Ross's mind. I tell you, the one thing that separates your office from the other offices, we kind of say it in the commercial, you've got a catchy little line for it, but you don't just walk in and feel like a number. A lot of the offices, you feel like a number. Annie's a phenomenal receptionist. Your hygienists are fantastic, but they're fantastic in a way that it makes you, it's a human experience. It's a relational experience. Obviously, you've seen the other. Was that something that you wanted to get after right away when you went and opened your own office to make yourselves distinct?
Well, because of all those things you mentioned, the fear, the potential pain, people just are scared a lot of times. And so you want to have a welcoming environment. We have a team environment without a doubt, and we get compliments all the time about how you feel that when you come in our office. And it is my staff that I owe thanks to for that. I have great staff, top to bottom, and that's what it's all about. As we say, over deliver, make people feel welcome, and keep it that way.
Yeah, I like that. Under promise, over deliver. Right? You go in, you treat people the way they deserve to be treated. One thing that I've always liked about you is that you're open to adaptation. The one thing that I think dentists, and again, talking to Ryan Ross, dentist here locally. You can find these guys on Marsh Street. Look them up at ryanross@dds.com to make your appointment. One thing I liked about you coming in was dentists, to me, have done as good a job as anyone in the health industry at the preventative model. They really have done a nice job. People have bought into it in the sense they say, hey, every 6 months. But one of the things I asked you when I came in, I said, well, obviously, not everybody needs to be in here every 6 months. Some people probably need to be in a lot sooner. Some people might be able to last a little bit longer based on their lifestyle, right? And don't you see that clinically all the time?
Correct. Based on a lot of factors. I have to say some people, as we all know, genetics play a role in a lot of our health. And there are some people that are fortunate and others that I know do a really good job with their home care, have the right diet, do the right things, but yet battle certain aspects of their oral health. So it does vary a great deal. And, it's not just every single person 6 months, black and white. There is a gray area. There's that, common sense factor that we like to talk about.
Instincts. Instincts.
Instinct.
Yeah. Now I got to be honest. I was of the crowd that probably didn't take as good of care of my mouth as I should have been. So I'm one of the people that needs to be seen a little more than every 6 months. And it was just because I didn't do the basics. I brush my teeth, scrub them over. Hey, great, terrific, move on. Didn't floss. Maybe once a week. I'd floss maybe once every. It might go 2 weeks. Whatever. I'll floss when I get to it. It's just not. It's not a big. But you never think about it like, when. That it's actually causing you problems, and it's like it's doing two things. One, it's bringing down your overall health, and two, it's actually decaying your teeth away inside your mouth. So you're kind of fighting two battles at the same time. And I had to go to the dentist. It'd been a long time since I went, and I went in. They got me squared away and on the right path, but it wouldn't have taken much to prevent all of that.
You got to tell the story. We've had talks on this show. CrossFit's a big deal out there right now in the fitness world. CrossFit tends to be linked to the paleo diet. You got to tell me the story about the paleo diet that ran through your office the other day.
Yeah, Rex and I think we were talking about balance and again, a lot of factors with our health. There's not, unfortunately, often there's not just one answer. And saw a patient who hadn't been in years. And we, as often have to tell them, well, because you haven't been in a long time. It's not always the case, but very often it's a periodontal condition that's the most concerning. And that gets to, I think what you mentioned before, and that is inflammation in the mouth can lead to a lot of problems systemically. So it's something that we don't want to pass over. And in telling her, she looked right at me and told me that it was impossible that she had inflammation because she had a good paleo diet. And it was hard for me to respond, I'll admit, at first.
It's incredible what we can get convinced of.
But Paleo Man had the greatest teeth ever.
We're going to talk about that in the second section. But it's, we'll talk about Weston Price and his, landmark study. But I think it's so important that when we get these fads out there, that we make sure that we dispel them very quickly. Because it's amazing how they permeate someone's mind and they really believe that they're indestructible in this case. I mean, it's impossible my teeth or my gums could be bad because I do this thing called the paleo diet. It's just sometimes it's beyond me. Talk about the fads that you've seen come and go a little bit in dentistry. There's obviously changes. There's changes in any health industry, but there's a lot of kind of different things from toothpaste to dental floss, to the colorings, flavorings, fluorides, all this type of stuff. What are some of the fads that you've kind of seen come and go that you can chuckle at a little bit and go, God, did we really used to do that?
Well, what first comes to my mind is one that, in my opinion, has unfortunately not gone. It's still here, and that is whitening toothpaste. I find that to be, I just don't see it as an effective way. And I'm not saying that people can't or shouldn't want white teeth. That's something we can take care of. But a toothpaste generally is not going to brighten your smile a whole lot. And in fact, those pastes, not always, but very often, are much more abrasive than a regular paste. And, we see them lately doing a lot more damage, causing an increase in sensitivity without a doubt. And, talking about fads that have come and gone, I think you're dating me, Rex. I don't think I've been around long enough. No.
Like the mule.
I'm still young. I'm still young.
A lot of youth left in Dr. Ryan Ross. And, again, we're not worried about him, his mental state. He's exercising regularly. He hasn't gone cuckoo yet. But I do got to harp on you guys. The posture's not real great in dentistry. Bent over the patients. There's not a lot of ways around that when you're looking into a mouth.
That just reminded me of a fad. Not too long ago, dentistry was performed standing up. And unfortunately, that's why, not always again, but a lot of older dentists you meet have that hook posture, the neck forward. So, it's changed. The thinking in so many occupations is.
Now, why is that funny, Dr. Ross? Olympian Paul Tarek,
he's
it's
laughing.
like...
No,
yeah.
I'm just thinking. I'm thinking of like the 1800s where you go into the dentist's office.
No, go to a dental school and check out some of the professors. If you want to see some permanent bad posture, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm just thinking
Fused spines.
Correct.
Early
Yes.
1900s, you go to the dentist office. The guy says, "Yeah, you might have a cavity," and he walks you over, standing up to right behind a mule, slaps it in the backside, and he kicks your teeth out.
It's incredible. You would think that the drink that Virginia brought actually really was laced with alcohol. She said it had probiotics, but when you watch, the effect on a guy like Paul Tarek, it's just
I'm just glad we can talk about dentistry and have a good time.
Well, when we come after the break, we're going to talk landmark study in dentistry, what it's meant to us in the realm of systemic health. Again, Ryan Ross at DDS.com in studio. We're going to see if we can calm Paul Tarek down, get him to kind of hang with us for at least the rest of the show, even if this really is our last show, which we're counting on it not being. Find us again, livingtherun.com, Facebook/livingtherun. Stick with us.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Folks, when it comes to the health of my teeth, I will not compromise, and neither should you. It's time you go where my wife and I go. Go see Dr. Ryan Ross. I get it. Not everyone loves a dentist, and heck, even a few of you out there are scared to death of these offices. Bad past experiences? Well, you ever had a bad haircut? How about a bad meal somewhere? You didn't stop getting your haircut, and you certainly didn't stop eating, so stop ignoring your teeth. Dr. Ross's gentle approach, calming demeanor, and office full of upbeat staff put your dental fears to rest. Conveniently located in a great little house on Marsh Street downtown, Dr. Ross's office exudes the highest level of professionalism, mixed with an atmosphere much like your own home. Look, nobody's in a rush here. It's not a get 'em in, get 'em out atmosphere. Every time I'm in Dr. Ross's office, it's like I'm the only guy that matters. No distractions, just full focus on my oral health. If you're interested in the highest quality in dental care and want to walk out of the office every time with a smile, call Dr. Ryan Ross today, 541-5800.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Slow Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
We're back with Living the Run.
Welcome back to Living the Run. Juice settling down in Paul Tarek. If you missed any of that recipe from Virginia Vert Foods, a ginger soda, homemade ginger soda, good replacement drink, good for the probiotics that you all are hearing about out there. Again, more gut dysfunction than you can imagine in this country, and it continues to elevate and increase. One of the starters for us is to ferment some foods. Let's get back to some fermenting, get back to those good bacterial populations. It's a good way to do it. Check out that recipe if you missed it. Facebook.com/livingtherun or livingtherun.com. Don't forget, after our show, the CJ Silas Show at 7 o'clock, and then the Slow Late Show. Guys will be picking up on the UFC, first week of the NFL. Bobby and Alex letting it rip from 10 to 12. All right, still in studio with Dr. Ryan Ross, local dentist here. RyanRossDDS.com. Let's get after it, Ryan. One of the things that most intrigued me of all the studies out there when I was just kind of going through school myself was this guy, Weston Price. And Weston Price was this dentist who he sounded like a great observer. You know, he went around, he was in Switzerland, he was in, some of these different places looking at Aborigines, he's looking at the Polynesians, Native Americans, etc. One thing that he observed differently on them is their teeth. They seem to not have a lot of periodontal disease, as you referenced earlier. They seem to not be losing their teeth as they were aging, seem to not have cavities. And one of the things that they linked it to certainly was diet. And interestingly enough is I guess they put some of these people on the Western diet, if you will. And the thing that kills us here on Living the Run, and Paul and I have talked about this before, the Western diet, which is promoted by our government, a food guide pyramid that basically promotes obesity and type 2 diabetes. That's the way that thing is designed, and what a surprise. We all act like, oh my God, emergency. There's an obesity epidemic. There's a type 2 diabetes epidemic. Really? Look at your food guide pyramid, the way you've been telling people to eat, teaching children in elementary school for a long time. But what do you think about this study when you kind of first saw it? Your thoughts on the idea of a diet that you see with people? And, you made a good point there in the break. It's hard to get away from some of this processed stuff that's out there now and to kind of maybe eat like the Native Americans did or the Aborigines.
Unfortunately, probably impossible to eat that way these days. As we know, even for people that try their best, and it's nice to see a lot of people are trying to eat the best they can and eliminate as many processed foods as they can, but getting rid of all of it, I don't know if that's possible. And you bring up diabetes. There's a huge correlation between periodontal disease and diabetes, and go figure, the diet has a lot to do with if not everything to do with both those problems.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Talk also about where we saw some links between heart disease, heart attack, stroke, and periodontal disease, inflammation in the mouth.
Yes, the right there, huge correlation. Low birth weight, the list goes on and on. Increased risk of stroke. You have periodontal disease, you're systemically unhealthy.
What do you think it is? When I look at this kind of thing, I mean, obviously, when people get little head injuries, you got kids, I got kids, they cut their chin, they cut above their eye, their head, whatever. It bleeds like none other. I mean, it's a volcano of blood. It spills like, no tomorrow. It seems like it's not going to stop. It panics folks. Why don't we associate that massive, rich blood flow that's in the face, the massive, rich network of nerves, with inflammation in the mouth? It just is so baffling to me how we just don't make those connections. Obviously, the teeth, the gums have rich blood flow, rich nerve innervation. We talk about heart disease being inflammation is the root cause, but somehow we can't coordinate that inflammation in the circulatory system there to creating the inflammation in the mouth. I don't get it. Where are we missing the message there?
I can't answer that question. I wish I could. I would be helping a lot of people, and we're starting to figure that out, starting to answer those questions. The correlation was made long ago, but now it's just a fact. It's been proven. And yet, I read today that 64 million people have periodontal disease in the United States, about 1 in 5 adults. And so, there's a couple risk factors out there that I'll talk about quickly. One, if you haven't been to a dentist in 2 years, high risk factors. Smoking. That's another interesting thing that you brought up, is that bleeding of the gums is not healthy. That's the number one sign of inflammation. If you think that bleeding of the gums is normal, I'd like to say, well, if you clapped your hands and your hands bled, would that be normal? No.
What a great analogy.
So bleeding in the gums is not healthy. And the reason I thought about that, I mentioned smoking. We all know that's not good for you. But what's interesting is that in heavy smokers, the gums don't bleed. So I don't like to just throw that out there that, if your gums bleed, you got to go in. There's a lot of other factors out there.
Yeah, because
many.
There's no blood flow in my gums. They're fine.
Yeah, I've smoked it away, created so much constriction. What a systemic.
Got rid of those blood vessels.
Yeah. What a great point, because so many people, I really believe, when they do their flossing, they kind of think that, hey, this is normal. My gums bleed when I floss. Not normal.
Not normal. And it's not always just simple inflammation. The other thing about periodontal disease, there's, as we talked about, systemic correlation, but it works the other way. Sometimes if there's problem with the gums and there's inflammation, it's an indication of a systemic problem. Crohn's disease can be detected through periodontal problems, as can lupus and pemphigus vulgaris. There's a number of systemic problems that we're trained to look for in dental school.
Yeah, and it follows right in. When you start talking about some of those conditions, autoimmune-based conditions, the Crohn's, the lupus, et cetera, dealing essentially a lot of times with gut relationships, gut inflammation. Again, more reason to drink Virginia Merriam's sodas instead of the alcohols, instead of other things. Unless you get your Paul Tarek, you had him bent over there on clapping your hands, getting those things to bleed. It's this guy. He's having a tough time making
Virginia
it through the
left
show.
that in there one day too long in the fermentation process.
Give a couple tips here. Going forward, I know you've told me before that you enjoy having some of those patients come in that, one, haven't been in a long time, or two, have had poor experiences or have that fear. Walk somebody through, let's pretend it's Olympian Paul Tarek.
I was gonna say the same thing. Is the people that take care of their gums and their teeth, they know. But for like I hadn't been to the dentist in a long time. What would you tell a guy like me, and what would you have us do, even before we come in, to try to, like you said, exercise on the way to the chiropractor?
And you don't have to be honest. You don't have to say hopeless. I mean, it's
He's not at all a hopeless case. Very few people are. And to those people out there, like, you talked about exercising on your way in. If you're flossing in the parking lot, that's not going to get it done.
And by the way, this lady's a great lady. She's just cracking a joke, when she came in. Great lady, vegan. She does take care of herself. But I thought it was a great joke because it hits it right on the head, right?
It really does.
Yeah.
To your question, though, it's about education. Lots of times there's a bad experience because what we're doing isn't explained. If you're just told to do something without any knowledge, I don't think anybody finds that to be very motivating. If you tell somebody why they need to floss and what happens if they don't and how the process works, that's a huge motivator. And that's the thing, to try to get somebody to be a regular patient. As you said, I enjoy that. I enjoy helping them get healthy. And the best way to help somebody, like I said, is to educate them. Yeah, what we do procedurally is important, but spending the time to talk to people is much more important. And again, my staff is excellent at that as well.
Hey, if you're looking for a new dentist, you're new into the area, or you're looking for change, you're just looking for that personal service that Dr. Ryan Ross is telling you, go and see him and see the folks in his office. You won't regret it. It's a great experience. You meant a lot to my family, to my older son. Great experience there, and appreciate it very much. Appreciate you supporting Living the Run, and we finally got you in studio.
It's been my pleasure to be here. I'm glad that I'm so entertaining for Paul, especially.
No question. As always, our interviews are brought to us by Jaffa Cafe, our home for the favorite Greek food, Mediterranean food on the Central Coast. Here's a $20 gift card for you. Take the fam, take yourself.
Thank you very much. We like that place a lot. And thanks, you guys, for having me. Really, it's been a good time.
Yeah, good stuff. More from Paul Tarek. Rex Stevens here on Living the Run. We'll do tips and takeaways to close out the show next.
You're listening to Living the Run on ESPN Radio 1280 The Ticket.
Hey guys, Paul Tarek from Living the Run here. As a former Olympian, there is only one place myself and fellow athletes go when it comes to chiropractic care on the Central Coast. With 4 chiropractors in the clinic, Slow Wellness Center is the largest, most comprehensive group of docs in San Luis Obispo County. I began seeing Dr. Rex Stevens back in 2005 for spinal adjustments to help maximize my performance, minimize my injury, and allow me to compete at my best. When the difference between a win and a loss can be just a fraction of an inch, perfect alignment in all joints is essential. One of the great things about the team at Slow Wellness is no matter where I had an issue, whether it was my spine, my foot, knee, wrist, or shoulder, they were always able to help. This team, made up of Dr. Rex and Molly Stevens, Dr. Sachs, and Dr. Bandolo, is sure to help you reach your health and fitness goals too. If it's chiropractic care you need, go where I go, Slow Wellness Center. Check them out at slowwellness.com or call 543-8688.
Folks, when it comes to the health of my teeth, I will not compromise, and neither should you. It's time you go where my wife and I go. Go see Dr. Ryan Ross. I get it. Not everyone loves a dentist, and heck, even a few of you out there are scared to death of these offices. Bad past experiences? Well, you ever had a bad haircut? How about a bad meal somewhere? You didn't stop getting your haircut, and you certainly didn't stop eating, so stop ignoring your teeth. Dr. Ross's gentle approach, calming demeanor, and office full of upbeat staff put your dental fears to rest. Conveniently located in a great little house on Marsh Street downtown, Dr. Ross's office exudes the highest level of professionalism, mixed with an atmosphere much like your own home. Look, nobody's in a rush here. It's not a get 'em in, get 'em out atmosphere. Every time I'm in Dr. Ross's office, it's like I'm the only guy that matters. No distractions, just full focus on my oral health. If you're interested in the highest quality in dental care and want to walk out of the office every time with a smile, call Dr. Ryan Ross today, 541-5800.
Puma Aquatics team offers year-round swim programming for novice, recreational, and competitive swimmers. For 16 years, Puma has developed some of the fastest swimmers on the Central Coast, as well as the nation. Puma has 3 convenient locations to choose from, providing programming for all of San Luis Obispo County. Puma offers swim assessments for new swimmers on Tuesdays and Thursdays at the Slow Kennedy Club, Atascadero Kennedy Club, and Arroyo Grande High School. For more information about Puma Aquatics, check out pumaswim.org. Join the Puma Pride and challenge yourself to reach new levels in your swimming. Puma Aquatics, where pride, passion, and persistence pay off.
We're back with Living the Run.
Another great show. Rex Stevens, Olympian Paul Tarek in studio. We're here every Wednesday night from 6 to 7 talking health and fitness. I'll say, Dr. Ryan Ross was a great, great guest for us. He's been a great sponsor for us, but, he just kind of lays it out there. He gets it out there for you. He's a wellness practitioner in every sense of the word. He's there to listen. His office rocks. I've been in a lot of dentist offices, including had a relative when I was a kid who was a dentist, and it's just a different atmosphere. It truly is over there, and those guys really care more than just about your teeth. They care about your health, and they care about, kind of what you said. Let's do tips and takeaways. Talk about the why.
Yeah, well, you stole my takeaway there. My tip was talk about the why. He doesn't say just, what, people need to floss and people need to do this. He said you tell people why they're doing it. You give them the explanation. You explain how it works. A little bit of knowledge, will go a long way. Yeah,
I think so. And, my tip and takeaway is don't get stuck in the fads. So many fads out there. He mentioned one, teeth whitening, the over fluoridation for a long time. They were given too much fluoride. Anytime you see any of these toothpastes or dental flosses that say taste like this, they're just adding preservative-rich, stuff that you just simply don't need. And those don't fit into the why, like you said. Those are not the things that give us good health. Changing our diet to become more anti-inflammatory. We kind of hit on it today a little bit. We got to get our gut healthy. And the gut is being disturbed very, very badly these days with a lot of the processed foods, a lot of the genetically modified foods, getting back to some of the stuff that Virginia prepares regularly, not getting stuck into just one book or another book, the latest diet and so forth. There may be principles in all of them that work, but we can't start to just say, hey, I do this paleo diet, therefore I can't have periodontal disease. It just doesn't always equate. Let's not get stuck in that kind of ignorant thinking.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with there is no one size fits all. Whether it's a workout, whether it's a diet, whether it's a personal trainer, it's not one way doesn't do it. There's good in everything. You have to sort through that, and I think that's why when somebody explains the why of what you're doing, you can start to pick out what works, for you, because some things may work for me here, but won't work for me over here, and the exact opposite might work for you in this situation. So.
Yeah, no question. I mean, you look at it, that this is an Olympic athlete, metabolic typing. Everybody's got a different metabolic type. The way they burn calories, the way that they make energy is just slightly different. The way that you're going to take on certain foods is slightly different. How much rest you feel you need in between things. So I think it's really important to go to these practitioners that are willing to adapt with you and not just say, hey, you've got a cavity, do this, or hey, you got back pain, so we just do this. Everybody's issue is different. We've got to meet people where they're at and do what you just kind of said. Increase the probability through fundamental physiology, through fundamental basics, through answering the why, that the probabilities that you'll get the end result that you like get higher.
It sounded a lot better when you said it, though. It sounded more intelligent when you said it.
Oh, geez, man. I'm just looking forward to so much kind of going through that interview next week with Ben Saunders, polar explorer, but really a motivator. He really was a motivator in so many ways.
With that English accent, too, it was like I wanted to fly back to Michigan in December and just take a walk. It was incredible. That guy was, when he explained walking across, the North Pole and how it was and what it looked like, I think the thing that stuck with me the most was nobody has ever or will ever see what I saw. And I thought that was probably the most powerful thing to me, that he's right. I mean, it is all ice flow, and there is the sights he's seen and the things that he can describe have never been seen and will never be seen again. Yeah,
that shifting is really kind of an amazing thing. You're not going to want to miss this interview with Ben Saunders. Again, you can check him out on bensaunders.com if you want to see this. I posted his TED.com talk too, pretty inspirational, called Why Leave the House. Great guest. You'll be a great guest for us next week. We got guests coming on the following weeks as well, some inspiring things. Don't forget City to the Sea coming up in this area. All kinds of races. We got the Kona Ironman, several people from this area participating. Looking forward to this guy who runs a very good podcast, Ben Greenfield, bengreenfield.com, coming in off to that. The other thing is we got to talk genes, and this is the big thing. I'm looking forward to talking to this Canadian doctor, Dr. James Chestnut, speaks all over the world on genes. It should be very, very good talk. We can stop blaming our genes for things and rather look to the environment and how they're working on our genes to make some of these great changes. As always, great show. Rex Stevens, Paul Tarek in studio. Thanks, Paul, for coming in, as always. Good time tonight. Thanks to our guest, Dr. Ryan Ross. Find him at ryanrossdds.com. And Virginia Merrim of Vert Foods, vertfoods.com. Don't forget the CJ Silas Show next and the Slow Late Show at 10. Live healthy, folks. Live bold. Come, live, run.